Today's passage focuses on Titus, and so I would like to spend some time talking about his ministry as it is outlined in the New Testament.
2 Corinthians 8:16-24. Thanks be to God, who put it into the heart of Titus the same concern I have for you. For Titus not only welcomed our appeal, but he is coming to you with much enthusiasm and on his own initiative. And we are sending along with him the brother who is praised by all the churches for his service to the gospel. What is more, he was chosen by the churches to accompany us while we carry the offering, which we administer in order to honor the Lord himself and to show our eagerness to help. We want to avoid any criticism of the way we administer this liberal gift, for we are taking pains to do what is right, not only in the eyes of the Lord, but also in the eyes of man. In addition, we are sending with them our brother who often proved to us in many ways that he is zealous, and even now more so because of his great confidence in you. As for Titus, he is my partner and co-worker among you. As for our brothers, they are representatives of the church and an honor to Christ. Therefore, show these men the proof of your love and the reason of our pride in you, so that the churches can see it.
Titus accompanied Paul and Barnabas on their visit to the church in Jerusalem. The occasion may have been the controversy over whether it was necessary for Gentile Christians to be circumcised and to keep the Jewish law. Titus is called a true son in our common faith by Paul, a brother, a partner, and fellow worker. Paul sent Titus on difficult missions to Corinth in order to correct the problems that existed there. Titus' willingness to go to Corinth, his genuine affection for the Corinthians, his deep concern and eagerness to help them, and his studied care not to take advantage of them, combined to make him very successful in his various missions to that city. The Corinthians responded to Titus in such a positive way, righting the wrongs and collecting the needed funds, that Paul's fears about them were allayed, and he was filled with joy over their response. Titus is never mentioned in the book of Acts. 2 Timothy 4:10 states that he went to Dalmatia on the West Balkan coast, whereas Titus 1:5 has him going to Crete to straighten out disorders there, appoint elders, rebuke, encourage, and teach sound doctrine. Later, when Paul was imprisoned at Rome, Titus was there to assist him. Titus' final act of service was to go as Paul's personal envoy to churches that Paul, perhaps, had never had an opportunity to visit himself. According to tradition, Titus became the first bishop of Crete. It's clear that Titus was a very valued member of the leadership team of the early church. I'd like to focus in on three aspects of Titus' life and work that might help us in our journeys. First, Titus was a problem solver, a fixer. Paul sent him to Corinth to help fix the problems that were there. In the ABC television drama Scandal, the main character, Olivia Pope, portrayed by Kerry Washington, is a fixer and head of Pope and Associates, a crisis management organization that fixes political scandals. Kerry Washington's character, Olivia Pope, is partially based on George H.W. Bush's administration's press aide, Judy Smith, who serves as a co-executive producer. Do you have someone in your life who is a fixer, like Olivia Pope? Someone you can count on to take care of the problems in your life? Problems with your car, your house, or other thorny situations. But relationships are on a whole another level. It is hard to send someone to fix a relationship or interpersonal situation that is broken or frayed. Very few people can be sent on that kind of mission. Apparently, Titus was that kind of person for Paul. someone who could rebuke, encourage, and bring together a community. Now that is some skill. This type of person cannot get rattled by criticism and has to take in various points of view and have an incredible energy to be fixed on the end product. The ultimate goal has to be kept in mind. Here, that goal was to collect the money for the Jerusalem church and keep the community together. And Titus did all of this beautifully. Do you know a Titus in your life? Or could you be one? Secondly, Titus overcame opposition to himself being an outsider. Titus was Greek, a Gentile, and for this new Christian movement, that meant that he was an outsider to the established Jewish leadership in Jerusalem. They even wanted him to be circumcised to continue his ministry. But Titus overcame their opposition and became a symbol of what was new in the church and what was needed for the church at that time. He helped bring about enormous change in the church, the move from a Jewish-only endeavor to one that was open to Gentiles. This in turn helped bring the gospel to the ends of the earth. Titus was an important part of that change. He may have felt alone in this new innovation, but look at what it garnered. The whole world opened up to God's Spirit. Where are you an outsider? Do you feel alone in your desire to seek and make change? God can use you to bring innovation and a fresh breath of God's Spirit. In the places of your life where you feel that things are ossified or calcified, maybe God is calling you to be a Titus in your traditional settings. God can use all kinds of outsiders. In fact, Jesus said his ministry was to outsiders. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus tells the story of the great banquet. There, the regular guests have been invited, but they refuse to come. Jesus says, "Go out into the roads and highways that my house may be filled. Find the poor, the disabled, those who are on the margins, the outsiders. Let them come to my great banquet." If you feel you are on the outside looking in, Jesus has a place for you. Finally, Titus was willing to not be in the spotlight. He was willing to go unnoticed, to be second in command, to be Paul's envoy. The book of Acts does not even mention Titus, but yet he goes on to have a marvelous ministry, one that is remembered even to this day through the letter addressed to him in the New Testament. Titus was not Paul. He did not have the clout of Paul. He did not have the stature of Paul. And yet he was so needed and respected. There could only be a few apostles. There could only be a few in the spotlight. And the rest of us labor more or less out of that spotlight. And that is okay. We do not need everyone to be a famous celebrity or have a big church or following, but all of us can be an influencer. It seems like this is the new career these days, being an influencer on social media or YouTube. But you and I have the chance to be one, especially where it counts, for the gospel of God. The small things we do outside of the spotlight, where no one notices, but that mean the world to the people we're working with. This is the stuff of building the reign of Christ. Be willing to do the extra, non-noticed jobs that need to be done, and we'll see God's movement expand and grow. I'm so glad there's a Titus in Scripture. May we strive to be like him, who is Paul's partner and co-worker in service. And may we too work for the glory of Christ.